Hi, how's it going? I see I have some explaining to do on why things look a little bit different here and why I'm randomly reviewing Jurassic Park. So yes, as you can tell, my backdrop has changed again. I'm trying out a green screen background. I've been thinking about getting a green screen and using that as the backdrop of my videos for a couple of years now. I've been thinking about doing it for a while. I've just never actually gotten to the point where I actually get one. I've just said, oh yeah, I'll try one eventually, and then I just never end up getting a green screen. Well, I finally got one, and I'm hoping it works out okay, and I'm hoping you guys like the new effect. I am still ironing things out, so if things look a little weird, just kind of bear with me. I did like a couple of tests, and I think I got it down all right, but I don't know how things are gonna look once I actually do a movie review, so just kind of bear with me as I try to get things ironed out here. And secondly, why am I randomly reviewing Jurassic Park? I didn't announce any plans on reviewing Jurassic Park, and it seems like it's coming from out of nowhere, and that's because it kind of is coming from out of nowhere. When I got home yesterday from work, I just randomly wanted to watch Jurassic Park. I don't know if it's because the weather's getting warmer, and when it gets warmer outside and it feels like summer, I just automatically want to watch something like Jurassic Park or Jaws, and I was in the mood to watch Jurassic Park, and I did, and then I realized that we're less than a month away before the new Jurassic World movie comes out. And since that movie is being heavily advertised as the final installment of the Jurassic era, you know, who knows if that's actually going to be true, but they're really hammering home that Jurassic World Dominion is going to be the last Jurassic Park movie. So I thought to myself while watching Jurassic Park last night that this might be my last opportunity that I get to talk about the Jurassic Park movies other than just a ranking video. So I watched the film, and I ended up watching all the movies because I have this 4K set, haven't watched them on 4K yet, and I rewatched all the movies and said to myself, you know what, May has some slower new releases, at least for me. So I thought I'd fill up my time on this channel and finally talk about the Jurassic Park movies leading up to Jurassic World Dominion. So this video is going to be for Jurassic Park, and then from now up until when Jurassic World Dominion comes out, I'm going to be doing the Lost World Jurassic Park 3, Jurassic World, and a re-review of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, because my thoughts on that movie has changed drastically since I saw the movie back when it first came out. So I think that's all the clearing up I have to do. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park came out in 1993, and it stars Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, Laura Dern, and Richard Attenborough, and is directed by the great master himself, Steven Spielberg. And you guys know the story about Jurassic Park. Two dinosaur experts, a lawyer, and a chaotician, played by Jeff Goldblum, traveled to this island where this theme park of genetically engineered dinosaurs is being made. But then a pissed off employee, played by Wayne Knight, decides to sabotage the island and steal dino embryos to give to John Hammond's competitor, and once he does that, then dinosaurs get loose and we have a Jurassic Park adventure here. Now, I've been a fan of the Jurassic Park series since I was a little kid. When I was a kid, I was constantly watching these movies. Every time they were on TV, I wanted to watch them. I had the original 3 on VHS, and I was always watching those constantly. They got worn out eventually, yet I still own them. I was collecting Jurassic Park toys when they were coming out. I had the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus and T-Rex battle set. It was basically Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but with the Spinosaurus and the T-Rex from the film. I had Legos, I had action figures, I had a raptor puppet that I still own. I don't know where it's at right now. I wanted to find it for this video, but I'm not sure where it's at. But my point is, I have loved Jurassic Park ever since I was a very little kid, and the original Jurassic Park movie is one of the reasons why I became such a fan of watching movies, even as a young kid. Now, my history with watching the movies is a little weird, because the first one that I saw in this franchise was Jurassic Park 3. And I think that's because the movie came out in 2001, so I was about 6 years old when that movie came out, and what kid at 6 years old isn't into dinosaurs, really? So I remember my dad always watching Jurassic Park 3, and I was always around when it was on, so I would always watch it with him. Then I watched the first Jurassic Park movie. Now, even though I've seen Jurassic Park 3 a bunch of times when I did see the first movie, I was still blown away by the first movie. And it quickly became one of my favorite movies as a kid, and it's obviously one of my favorite movies now as an adult. And then obviously after that, I watched The Lost World, so my history of in the orders that I watched these movies was really, really weird, and I have no really clear explanation on why it is. That's just my assumption on why I watched them out of order when I was a kid. But just sticking with the first movie right now, when I became an adult, I've always tried watching Jurassic Park like I'm watching it for the first time, and it became constant for me. Every time I watch the first Jurassic Park movie, even though I know what's going to happen, I've seen the film millions of times at this point, it always feels like I'm watching it for the first time all over again. And something else that always just amazes me every time I watch the movie now as an adult is how incredibly well the movie is held up, because next year in 2023 is going to be 30 years since the film came out. 30 years. And besides a couple of special effects shots, small special effects shots here and there, everything in this movie holds up incredibly well. Nothing is dated in Jurassic Park, which is a huge praise on the filmmaking aspect. The film changed how filmmakers use special effects and CGI forever. We all know that. But just whenever I watch the movie, I just can't help but not appreciate how amazing it is all held up, how beautiful everything looks. And that's because the mix of practical animatronics for all the close-ups, most of the close-ups, and then CGI for just the wide shots of the dinosaurs. That blend together was so perfect. And I just, like I said, I just can't help but not point that out whenever I watch the film. And something else that I appreciated more as I got older and older was that when I was a kid, you like the dinosaur stuff when you're a kid. I mean, like I said earlier, what kid doesn't like dinosaurs? And seeing all the dinosaur stuff is incredibly cool in the movie. But then once you get older, you start to appreciate a lot more the characters in the movie and the themes of Jurassic Park, because that is really the main core of the film. And then on top of that, the icing on the cake is the big, cool CGI dinosaur stuff. But the characters in this movie are just so likable. I know they were different in the book. I don't remember exactly how they were in the book. I know I read the book when I was younger, and I do know that they were portrayed differently in the book than they were in the movie. But here in the movie, it was a huge improvement over the book on how they were. And each performance in the movie is incredibly strong and just likable. That's the biggest praise I can give to the characters in this movie. Everyone is likable. Even the human villain in this movie, Dennis Nedry, played by Wayne Knight. He's the villain in the movie, but he has this weird likability sense to him. You don't want to like him. You know he's gonna screw up the island and potentially be the reason, well, not potentially, he pretty much is the reason why characters die from the dinosaurs in this movie, but you just like Wayne Knight in this movie, or at least I've always have. But seeing all the main characters just interact with each other, it just never gets boring. It was never boring when I was a kid, but I can see if this was done by a different director, the talking scenes might have been just kind of slow paced and just kind of dragged the movie down. But with Steven Spielberg directing it and David Koepp writing this movie, and of course Michael Crichton, the author of the book, helping out with the screenplay, all that combined, all that talent just rolled in there. It makes the simple scenes, the talking scenes, for instance, the lunch scene, when everyone's just sitting around the table just talking about their different interpretations on the good and bad of this park, it's all riveting. It's all just engaging. It's never dull or boring. Everyone has something interesting to say in the film, and it doesn't come off as overly smart or talking down to someone or even pretentious. It was a great blend of writing and directing. And speaking of that lunch scene, I absolutely love that scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Jeff Goldblum's character is talking about how, you know, this creation that happened with this Jurassic Park, it disrupted the evolution of nature. But then we have the lawyer who's loving the possibility of making money from this park. He said in the movie, we can make like $10,000 a day, $15,000 a day, whatever it was, and people will pay all that. And then of course there's the merchandising stuff. And I've always loved how John Hammond just cuts him off and says, no. This park was not only for the super rich. Everyone in the world has the right to enjoy these animals. I've just always loved that line. And then Laura Dern's character is talking about how these animals were just brought back from life. They have no idea what century they're in, and they'll do whatever they need to do to protect themselves and their territory. And then Alan Grant, played by Sam Neill, wrapping it all up by saying, you know, dinosaurs and man are now just brought back into the mix together. How could we have the slightest idea on what to expect? Like, it's all great writing and great conversations going on. And that's what I love about Jurassic Park, and the themes of Jurassic Park is something that I really love as well. The theme of man versus nature, you know, man shouldn't interfere with nature, so then nature can take its course, can evolve, and man interfering doesn't always work out. In fact, never really works out. So great characters and great writing in this movie on top of brilliant effects and awesome dinosaur stuff. I mean, that sequence with the T-Rex when he first gets out is, in my opinion, one of the greatest scenes in cinema history. I love that scene. Every time that scene plays, whenever I watch the movie, I have to stop what I'm doing. Even if I'm watching the movie while doing something else, I have to stop what I'm doing and just appreciate that scene because of how great it is and how well done it is. It's just amazing all these years later how well it's held up, like I mentioned earlier. But even the dinosaur scenes that aren't intense, in the beginning of the movie when the characters first see the Brachiosaurus, it's the first time they saw one of these dinosaurs brought back to life, and the slow music is just slowly building up and building up until they see the whole herd of dinosaurs out in the distance. It's all great filmmaking, and just the quiet moments of just them watching all these dinosaurs as they're brought back to life. It's all perfectly well done, and I can't stress that enough. It's something that even though each Jurassic Park movie has had both pros and cons, which we'll get into when we get into the other movies, none of the Jurassic Park movies, in my opinion, has able to capture the awe and amazingness as well as the first movie did. Again, we'll get into the other Jurassic Park movies. They have their pros and cons as well, but this movie is just a classic. And I know everyone says that. Jurassic Park's a classic. Jurassic Park's a classic. But when you watch the movie and really appreciate what's on screen and the fact that almost 30 years later, we're watching it like it's the first time we're watching it, and how we just discover new things from when we watched it when I was a kid, or at least I did when I watched it when I was a kid. And we start to love the movie a lot more. It's just great. I love watching Jurassic Park. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's obviously the best one of the Jurassic Park movies, and I just can't stress enough how near perfect this movie is. And I don't like saying a movie's perfect. To me, there's no such thing as a perfect movie, but Jurassic Park is one of the movies that's near perfect. It does everything right. It never gets boring. It never gets dated. Jurassic Park is, of course, Oscar worthy. I mean, how can it not be Oscar worthy? I'm pretty sure it won Oscars. I'm not sure how many it did, but I'm pretty sure it was nominated and won some Oscars. So if you have never seen Jurassic Park, I probably spoiled a couple things here and there, but just in case you haven't seen Jurassic Park, do yourself a favor and watch it. Or if you haven't seen it in a number of years, do yourself a favor and watch it. It's definitely worth your time. So guys, that's my review for the first Jurassic Park movie. Just like I mentioned earlier, in between new releases from now until Jurassic World Dominion comes out, I'm going to be putting in a Jurassic Park review because I've always wanted to talk about these movies. I was going to talk about them when Fallen Kingdom came out, then I never got a chance to doing it, and now with Dominion being advertised as the last Jurassic Park movie, I really should get my thoughts and opinions out there that I wanted to do besides just a ranking video. So just like always, guys, let me know your thoughts and opinions on Jurassic Park down in the comments section. And just like always, guys, thank you again so much for watching. I'm going to be seeing the new Firestarter movie next. That's going to be my next new release movie. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, bear in mind if the background isn't perfect or anything like that, I'm still working out green screen stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and hopefully it sticks around for a while. So again, thank you guys as always for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then don't forget to like and share it. Subscribe right here if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, take care.